Hey gamers, welcome to Starsector. This is a little fun space game where you're basically a space captain of your own little fleet. You start off small, but you can build up your fleet to have capital size class ships in it eventually. You can be a trader, you can be a little officer in a military of one of the many factions, as well as eventually administrate your very own planets. There's also an in-depth exploration system with quite a bit of lore, actually, I could say, from experience. It takes quite a long time to explore every system, but there is a limited amount, but you won't really notice how much of it you've explored until you're hours into the game. So anyway, we're going to start a new game. We're going to be doing kind of a run where we're gonna throw morality out the window, and we're gonna do a bit of economic practice, I like to say. So, our name will be Bucket, of course, because we are buckets here. Buckets of major size, apparently. We're gonna continue. So, I always like going for the bounty hunter's start. It's really not an easy start like these other ones, because these give you fleets. And it's not a complete trader's start, because the complete trader's start leaves you pretty much undefended. And at least with a Wolf class frigate, you can defend yourself with a pretty decent ship. I always like going full technology at the start. This is mainly because of the navigation skill. Basically at level 3 you can unlock this special ability called Transverse Jump, which allows you to not use the wormholes that normally limit like how you can enter a star system and how you can leave it. Basically, it'll help you avoid ships that you don't want attacking you or chasing you, and you can get away from being chased pretty easily as well. We're gonna go ahead and start it. Okay, we're in the game, and we always start off by Jangula, the jungle world, in Hegemony Space. This faction is actually friendly to us, but we don't really care that they're friendly to us. We don't really have much to do with them. Right off the bat, there's actually this Luddic church, massive convoy. We don't want to mess with those guys, because they might end up being pretty good partners for our economic prowess in the later game. One of my favorite opening moves when playing this playstyle is actually buying another ship. We're gonna buy this combat freighter because the combat freighters are pretty quick and can run away if they have to get into a combat situation, and they also have a few gun slots that they can defend themselves with. They also have quite a bit of cargo capacity, which is what we're gonna need for what we're about to do. What we're mainly going to be doing is we're gonna be trading supplies at the start. As we can see here, I've opened up the supply and demand chart. So as you can see, there is some pretty expensive, or I guess you could say profitable places to sell your supplies at, specifically Chalcedon and Epiphany. These two Luddic Path planets are always in need of supply, and you can use it to get pretty good early game money quite easily and quickly build up your early game fleet. So that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and buy as many supplies as we can, and then we're going to go ahead and go to Chalcedon. On our way out, we actually got pretty unlucky, and there was a patrol fleet literally right next to us. Fortunately for us, we didn't have anything illegal, and apparently we didn't do enough black market trading to actually just get the automatic relations debuff from getting caught by a patrol. I'm still pretty sure that we'll get the debuff as we leave the system, but again, we don't really care about the relations. Again, on our way out, we actually got caught by a pirate scout group. This is why I went with a wolf opener for our backstory, the bounty hunter's backstory, is because things like this can happen. And well, usually these pirate scouts are incredibly weak. Like, they're pretty much the only thing that can actually catch up to our fleet, but they never pose a threat. because they always have really weak ships, and the ships have a ton of debuffs. Like this one has 4 and the kite has 4. They're also really weak combat ships. They aren't meant for combat. So we're going to go ahead and move into engage. Now all I really need to deploy here is the wolf. We don't really need any other ship. Like this wolf can probably solo both of these ships without taking damage if I'm pretty good at this game. We're going to go ahead and go in. I'm going to put it on autopilot for right now, and I'm going to put my weapons into auto fire mode. So immediately we actually got hit in the engine, so I'm going to go ahead and warp out. The special ability of the wolf is to actually warp away, which is a really useful skill. I'm gonna go ahead and immediately start clowning on this larger ship. Oh, and I accidentally overloaded my wolf frigate. We're gonna go ahead and warp away, and we're gonna go ahead and vent. If I remember the key. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, basically venting gets rid of the flux, so you don't have to worry about taking damage on your hull, because you can just reabsorb it with your shield. This kite is really annoying from what I've seen, but I can't really quite get at him yet. What we should be focusing on is actually destroying this guy right here. So we're gonna go ahead and warp in. There we go. We got him pretty easily. Now there's only this kite left, and he doesn't really stand a chance against a wolf-class ship. And just like that, both the pirates are dead, and we only sustained minimal hull damage, which will just get healed off with the amount of supplies that we have. The pirates don't like us, but I mean, that's a kind of a given. And of course, we're going to take as many supplies as we can from these fools. Except for the scrap metal. We actually don't need the scrap metal, but I will be taking the weaponry. As well as, actually, I'm going to have to drop off just a couple of supplies. Actually, I won't be dropping off the supplies. We actually kind of need those, so we're going to keep them. So we're now in that star system of the Luddic Path planet that really needs supplies. We're approaching the planet with our transponder off. This reduces our detectable range, and it also lets us actually interact with the planet because they don't know who we are. And even though the Luddic Path is hostile towards us, we'll be able to trade with them. Now, as we can see, the Luddic Path is buying supplies for over 200 per unit, which is going to be 180 for us. So we're going to go ahead and sell pretty much all of our supplies for a profit of 22,000. This brings us up to pretty much, actually even more than what we had than when we started, and we've also gained a ship. This is pretty good for us, and we're just going to keep repeating this trade route until we have quite a bit of money. Okay, so we did a bit of trading with the Luddic Path, the terrorists, the space terrorists. Oh, I probably didn't mention it, but the Luddic Path, their whole background is that they're pretty much space terrorists. So we've been giving supplies to space terrorists. Morally, probably not right. Economically, though, it was quite profitable because we are now at 124,000 credits. Given that actually 24,000 of these were from missions that I picked up on the way, I basically had to stop off from the system right here, and one of the missions was to actually give volatiles to this independent planet. But the other mission was actually to give transplutonic ore to Chalcedon. So we managed to get another 30,000 out of that. So in grand total, we have 124,000, and I'm just going to spend this on ships and more cargo ships as well. And hopefully we can do some bigger trade missions. The Hegemony ship market actually did have the ships I want. There were 2 Wolf-class frigates, and there was also a Lasher frigate, which was pretty good. So I decided to snag all of them up. Unfortunately, they were on the black market, so Hegemony would not be primarily happy with us, but I really didn't care about relations with the Hegemony, so we went ahead and bought them. Unfortunately for us, we were caught by this Hegemony fleet, but luckily they didn't catch anything, so we were free to go. I decided to look at my character level, and I actually saw that we're at level 5, which means we had 4 character points to spend. So I put 3 to navigation, because navigation all around is a really good skill. It's going to give us faster movement in hyperspace, which has a lot of terrain penalty movement. Its level 2 is going to give us lower fuel consumption, which is going to be really good when we have large fleets. And the 3rd level, which is the most important, is that it gives us the transverse jump, and it also gives us maximum burn level +1, meaning that we will be at the maximum speed possible in the game. So by looking at this planet, we can see that the distance of the gas giant is 0, because that's what's causing this gravity well. There's a gas giant here, which makes this jump point. And then the 2nd planet is the air world, and then the 3rd planet, which is actually the star, and then the 4th planet is the barren world. As we can see from the splotches and the other jump points, we can assume that the closest planet is Ancria, because it's the closest purple splotch to the jump point. The star is much further away, and you can see that in actually the object distance. And then, of course, the other planet in this star system is really far away, so it can't be that. So, if I hover right over this gravity well, and I do transverse jump, I should jump right on top of the planet. And here I am. This is the correct planet, so my guess was right. We were able to deliver both of the heavy armaments to this planet, so overall the mission was quite successful, and we were back up to over 100,000 credits. This was quite a cushy amount of credits to have. I usually don't have this much in the early game, but it appears our skillful trading was doing ourselves wonders. Funnily enough, we actually returned to that same planet that we were buying the supplies from to support the space terrorists. And there's actually a mission here for 310 units to be delivered to a very far away star system. It's only paying 28,000 credits, and what we usually earn from just selling the supplies to the space terrorists is a lot better than what they're giving, so we're going to decline that offer. In the black market of the supply planet we usually go to, I noticed another hound. We had quite a bit of supply for cargo capacity, but a little bit more, and we could go to each of the planets that demanded supplies, and we could do it in one run. And with only 440, I was afraid that we'd actually chew through all of our supplies before we even got to that planet, so I decided to get another hound. Upon looking very closely at some of the skills that our character could have, one of the most useful I noticed was actually Loadout Design. The maximum level for Loadout Design would give us more ordnance points, making our ships actually pretty strong once we get more hull mods. It also gave a slight boost to our flux capacity and vent ability on every single ship in our fleet, which is really strong, because other skills would only increase the efficiency on one ship, the ship that you pilot. So, to me, Loadout Design seemed like the best choice, so I maxed that one out. I finally found the destroyer I was looking for, the Hammerhead destroyer. This is probably one of my most favorite destroyers. I just love using this ship, and it's definitely one of the easiest ships for me to use. And now that we had a destroyer, I was feeling pretty good about our ability to fight. So from now on, we'd also be doing a couple of bounty missions while we waited for the supply runs to the Luddic path planets to reestablish themselves, because by this point, it only took 2 runs for us to completely oversaturate the market at those planets. After loading out our new destroyer, this thing was pretty stacked. Apparently, the planet that we bought it from actually had quite a few weapons for or shield piercing equipment. So we have these triple heavy autocannons, which is just gonna shred through any shields that aren't itself a destroyer class shield. So any lower ship types would completely get shredded by this thing. And as soon as the shields would go down, or if the ship overloaded, there was these harpoons ready to strike at the ship. And there we go. Our hammer is now our flagship, so whenever we're going to be in combat, this is the ship that we will be piloting. We're going to end the episode right here. I'm thinking if we do another episode, I'm probably just going to go ahead and do a bit more military action and a little bit less of the trade highlights, because I know that the trading will get boring after a while, so I'll show a lot less of that. This should also be a pretty short episode, short but sweet, but I can't upload pretty much anything that's really long because my internet only lets me upload at less than a megabyte, so even uploading, you know, a acceptable video, which would be 720, and preferably I'd like to upload in 1080p, but unfortunately that would just make the file way too big to upload, and it could take overnight, which might actually end up corrupting the upload, and I'd have to start over, which I really don't want to do. So instead, I'm going to keep these episodes really short, and we're going to go with 720p HD quality, which will hopefully be enough for your eyes. And yeah, basically next episode, we're just going to do more combat instead of trading, and that's all. Alright, later.